Introducing YogaPlus. Download now for free. Available on the App Store and Google Play.
Brought to you by wellnessplus.tv and made possible by the generous donations of Psychetruth Patreon supporters.
Hi, my name is Kelsy with Naiana Yoga, and I'm here to do a prenatal full body energizing sequence today. If you're a regular practitioner, it's okay to continue into your first trimester, but if you're not, then maybe you could try to take it easy, particularly during your first trimester, but particularly with a twist, so anything that compresses the belly or any sort of deep twist. Also, if you have a breech baby or if you're carrying twins, you want to be careful not to let your pelvis drop below your knees. So when you're in those squat positions, you don't want to allow that to get too low. And if you have any other medical concerns, make sure you talk to a doctor before you practice. So a few of the props that you might want to have with you, these are optional, but very helpful. So that includes a strap, 2 blocks, and also maybe a blanket, and that just cushions your knees or the tops of your feet, and also a bolster. If you don't have blocks or a bolster, you can use pillows instead of the bolster, and then you can use a stack of books instead of the blocks. For the strap, we're only using that once at the end of this sequence, so you can omit that entirely if you don't have a strap, or if you have a really long loose belt, that might work as well. So we're going to start with pranayama. Prana is the vital life force energy that runs through our body. It's called prana in India and also in yoga because yoga is derived from India, but it's called chi in China and it's called ki in Japan. So we're using our breath in order to access that vital life force energy. Prana is that vital life force energy, but yama is control. So what we're doing is we're accessing that prana through our breath with control. So the first step is to work on the Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is commonly called ocean breath here in the West, but Ud means upward or expanding, and Jaya means conquest or success. So that's what it literally means. But what we're going to do to start out is just to focus inward and think about our breath, have conscious breath. So you can start with your hands on your knees. This is called the Chin Mudra. And you can close your eyes or soften your gaze down at the floor. And start by taking a few deep breaths. You always want to start breathing through your nose, inhaling and exhaling through your nose, unless you're congested or if you've had recent surgery. Then it's okay to go ahead and breathe through your mouth, but otherwise try to breathe in and out through your nose. And then on your next breath, really try to visualize where that breath is going. So you're going to take a longer, deeper breath and imagine that you can see the breath going into the pharynx, the larynx, the throat, the bronchiole, then your lungs, past the diaphragm, and even deep into the belly. It doesn't, of course, go into the belly, but we're imagining it pressing into the belly. And then when you exhale, you're imagining it going in the reverse direction, up from the belly, past the diaphragm, into the lungs, into the bronchiole, into the trachea, the larynx, the pharynx, and then out. So let's try a few rounds of that. Now the next step is to tuck your chin in slightly, maybe bring your chin down a little bit, and that constricts the airway just a bit so that the exhale becomes a little bit noisier, and then it prolongs your breath. So that's a way of extending the breath. This is really what Ujjayi breath is. So practice, tuck the chin in, bring it down, and then deep inhale and exhale. Try to increase it to 10 seconds. Inhale for 10. You want to keep the ratio the same. Inhale for 10, exhale for 10. We want to try to keep this breath going, the same method, throughout the entire yoga practice. It's a very basic pranayama, but it's very essential. So let's go ahead and begin with 3 ohms before we start our physical asana practice. So you can bring your hands to your heart, and then we'll take in a deep inhale through the nose. And then again. Go ahead and bring your head down to your heart, your hands down to your knees. Lift your head up and then open your eyes. And then we'll begin. So we're going to interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale as you look up, and then exhale, bring your chin down to your chest. We're going to take the head over to the left, being careful not to take it too far back because you don't want to pinch the cervical vertebrae. Try to keep your chin down to your chest as much as you can to feel that stretch along the back of the neck. And let's go the other direction. So you're going to release your hands from around your back, and then go ahead and take the left hand, bring it to the top of the right ear. Gently bring your head down to your left shoulder and extend the right arm out. If you extend your fingertips down towards your mat, you can get a deeper stretch here. If this is uncomfortable, if it's a little bit too much of a stretch, you can allow your hand to rest on the mat next to you. So deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale. And then release gently, and we'll go to the other side. Deep inhale. And exhale. And then allow your head to come back to center. So from here, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. We're going to take the shoulders up and then bring them forward. We're just doing 10 of these. And then we're going to go the other direction. And now we're doing something called Sufi rolls. So you can sit in a regular cross-legged position. I was in half lotus, which is when you have one foot resting on your thigh. But when you're in the cross-legged position, you can just cross the ankles, giving your belly a little bit more space since we're pregnant. We've got babies here. So go ahead and place your hands on your knees, and then you inhale as you bring your chest forward, and then exhale as you press your back towards the back. So inhale, sweep, exhale, you're scooping the back. Inhale, sweep, exhale, come back, and then one more. And let's go the other direction. So go ahead and inhale, sweep, exhale, press back. Inhale, sweep, exhale, press back. 2 more. Inhale, sweep, exhale, press back. Inhale, sweep, exhale, press back. From here, we're gonna keep our ankles crossed. We roll up onto the knees, and we're going into cat-cow. With cat-cow, you wanna make sure that your shoulders are stacked right above the wrists. And you also want to twist so that the elbow the inner part of the elbow is pointed straight ahead. That helps so that you have more stability for your shoulders. And then likewise, the knees should be directly underneath the hips. So we're going to inhale as we look up at the ceiling into the cow pose, and then exhale as you press into cat, Marjariyasana. Inhale, look up, press your palms into your mat, and then exhale, round the spine. Inhale, look up, and then exhale, press down. One more inhale, and then exhale, round the spine. Bring your back to neutral, and then we're doing side bends. So you're keeping your back flat. You want to look straight down at the mat. You're not keeping your head down, you're not lifting it up, because that eventually will create some neck strain. And then we're just moving from side to side. You're bringing your nose over to your hip, creating a C shape with the spine. Let's come back to neutral. Then go ahead and take your bolster or your pillow if you have one, or a stack of blankets, that'll work too. And then we're doing thread the needle. This is Parshva Balasana, which means side child pose, but it's commonly known as thread the needle. So go ahead and place your hand over that bolster, and then you're taking your right hand up, inhale, and then exhale as you twist. If you're in your first trimester, you can maybe avoid this particular pose. You can rest your temple on that bolster, and then continue to twist if that feels good for you, to look up at the ceiling. Take a deep breath here. And then you can start to lift your left arm up, hinge at the elbow, and bring your arm around your back. This is called a bind. So this is thread the needle with a bind. Inhale, go ahead and take your left arm up. Exhale as you press your palm into your mat. Now we're going to the other side. So go ahead and place your right hand down. You're gonna lift the left arm up. Inhale here, and then exhale as you twist, resting your shoulder, maybe your temple on that bolster. Then go ahead and take the right arm up, hinge at the elbow, and wrap your hand around your back. You can rest on your back or even bring your fingertips to your inner thigh. Taking a deep breath. And then go ahead and release that hand from around your back. You can place your right hand down on your mat to come all the way back up. From here, we're going into the thunderbolt pose. So you're tucking your toes underneath. This is Vajrasana, or thunderbolt pose. So go ahead and sit back onto your heels. Sometimes it's hard to sit all the way upright. It's either hard on our Achilles tendon or on the balls of your feet, especially if you have fasciitis. So what you can do is continue to lean a little bit forward in the case of it hurting your feet. Or for knees, you can grab a towel or a blanket and place it right underneath your knees. So from here, we're just taking a few deep breaths. We're gonna connect inward. You can place your hands on your belly if you like. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. And if your mind starts to wander, bring it back to your breath. We're just taking a few more breaths here. Try to connect inward, connect with your developing baby. Go ahead and lean forward. You're placing your hands on your mat, and then we'll untuck the toes. And now see if it feels okay to sit all the way back on your heels while you're resting on the tops of your feet. And again, we'll take a couple breaths here. use your hands to go ahead and lift off your knees. So you can bring your blanket or towel to the side, and then we're going to press up into our first downward facing dog. So you're tucking your toes under, pressing your palms into your mat. Even the fingertips will be pressed into your mat, and then you move your torso back towards your thighs. You want to feel that your tailbone is lifted up toward the ceiling, and that you're continuing to press your shoulders back towards your thighs, giving your baby room. So if you need to open the legs a little bit, that's okay too. Taking a deep breath here. And then exhale. Another deep breath. And exhale. And then maybe walk the dog. So you're keeping the toes in place and you're alternating, lifting your heels. We're going to stop walking the dog. And then from here, you're taking your left foot, placing it in the center, and then lifting the right leg up. You want your hips to stay square to the mat, so you're not lifting one hip higher than the other. And then feel the stretch along the length of the back of your leg. And point that lifted toe. From here, you're going to bend that right knee, bring the knee up toward the ceiling, and then the heel drops slightly below the left hip. That's opening up the hip a bit. Now inhale to come back to three-legged dog, then go ahead and place your right foot back down on your mat. From here, we can walk the dog again. And then place your right foot in the center and lift the left leg up. Continue to extend up toward the ceiling. And don't forget to press your torso back towards your thigh. Inhale here, then go ahead and bend that knee. As you exhale, opening up the hip. Inhale, extend your leg back up, and then exhale, we're coming back down. Walk the dog, and then gently, you can lower down to your knees. Widen the knees so you have enough space for your belly. And we're going into Uttana Marjariyasana. This is outstretched cat pose. It's like Balasana, child's pose, except for we have our hands extended in front of us. If you find that you don't have enough space for your baby, it's okay to come up a little bit so that you're further on your knees rather than sitting back on your heels. From here, we're going to go ahead and walk the hands back towards our hips. You can bring your knees back in, and then we're going to come back into one more downward facing dog. So flip the toes under and then press all the way back. We're going to slowly walk all the way up to the hands and then hang in Uttanasana, keeping the feet wide so that you have enough space for the belly. As you're coming into Uttanasana, you want to make sure that your weight isn't all in your heels. You can start to bring the weight a little bit more into the balls of your feet. And then from here, we're grabbing the elbows and then gently swaying from side to side. Feeling the stretch along the backs of the legs. And then from here, you can interlace your hands and maybe bring them back down towards your mat if that feels good for you, for your shoulders and for your arms. Inhale here and then exhale. You can go ahead and release. Let's come up halfway just to allow the blood to come back down from our head so we don't get a head rush. And then come back down slowly. And then from here, you're going to bend your knees and then come up vertebrae by vertebrae, with the last thing to come up being your head until you're all the way up at standing. So from here, we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up so you have your fingertips toward the ceiling, and then exhale as you bring your hands to your heart. We're going to hold it here in Utkatasana or chair pose for 30 seconds. So deep inhale and exhale, and we're holding. Keep breathing. And make sure to shift your weight from the balls of your feet into your heels. You can engage the quadriceps a little bit more that way. We have about 10 more seconds left. And then inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, release your hands down to your side. So now we're going to go ahead and do an Ashtanga version of Chandra Namaskara, which is a moon salutation. So we're moving from side to side. We want to start on the right side of our mats, moving left. Normally, earlier in this video, I was doing all the exercises with you with the same leg, same arm, but now I'm mirroring you so we can be in sync, moving in the same direction. So when I'm moving to my right, you'll be moving to your left, but it'll look like we're doing the same thing at the same time. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have blocks prepared for you as you move over to the side. If you don't have blocks, you can use a stack of books. And you want one block or stack of books on either side of your mat, making sure that they're on your mat so that they don't slip out. And then you're going to start moving towards the left, so you want to be on the right side of your mat. And then your feet are going to be slightly wider than hip width apart. Keep your knees somewhat soft. And then inhale as you bring your hands up over your head. You're stretching your hands up toward the ceiling. Keep a nice long back. Inhale here, and then exhale as you move towards your left. Bring your gaze to the ceiling. Inhale back to center, and then exhale over to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, you bring your hands down to your lower back, the tops of your hips. I'm just showing you from the side. We're going to inhale here, and then exhale, small back bend. Only go as far as you can comfortably go, as far as your back will allow you to go. From here, we're stepping out. So we want our heels to be in, our toes will be out, and we're bringing our arms up. So we're in the 5-pointed star. We're going to inhale here, and then exhale into goddess pose. Inhale, let's come back up. Exhale, keep your hands at shoulder height. You're stretching your fingertips in opposite directions. You want to turn your right foot in slightly. Left foot gets turned all the way out. Keep your hips squared. So if one starts to tilt, bring it back to center. Inhale here, and then exhale as you reach. And then we're coming down into Trikonasana, or triangle pose. Inhale here. And then exhale, you're twisting to square your hips down towards the mat. This is when you can grab your blocks. So your blocks have 3 different heights. You can have it on the most vertical height, you can have it on the second height, or have it flat. So when it's on the largest surface area, it's the lowest height you could possibly be at. So you know where you should be as long as you can keep your hips squared. You want to move your torso down towards the mat as much as you can, allowing for space for your belly. So your belly is coming down on the inside of your leg, moving down towards your mat. Look straight ahead. Inhale here, and exhale. Let's begin to lift that back heel up, and then we're stretching our back foot, that right foot, back as far as we can into a runner's lunge. You can stay up on these blocks if you like, or bring your hands down to the mat. So go ahead and make sure that the front foot is moved far enough so that you can create a 90-degree angle with that front leg. You want your knee to be stacked directly over your ankle. We're allowing our hips to sink down into the mat. Inhale here, and then exhale as you lower your knee all the way down to your mat. You can untuck your toes. Inhale, bring your hands together above your head, and then exhale, small back bend. Inhale, let's come up. And then exhale, bring your hands all the way down to your mat or to your blocks. Inhale, we're coming up. And then exhale, we're moving towards the front. So we're doing a side lunge. It's okay if it hurts your knee to not come down as far. You can just stay up the whole time that we're moving from side to side. Otherwise, we're doing a side lunge and we're pressing this knee back. We're opening the hips. And then we have the right foot flexed towards the head. We're going to inhale as we come through center, and then exhale as you do a side lunge on the other side. Take your blocks, bringing them all the way over to the other side of your mat, and then rotate your toe down into your mat and come back into your runner's lunge on the other side. Allow your hips to sink down towards your mat. Then you can rest your knee down, keeping your hips moving down towards your mat. You don't want them up here. You want them to come all the way down. Bring your hands above your head. Inhale here, and then exhale, small back bend. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bring your hands down to your mat or your blocks. Let's go ahead and press up. We're flipping the back toes under, and then rotate your heel down to come back into intense side stretch or Parsvottanasana. Take your right hand, place it on your shin, and then open your hips up to the front as you take your left hand up toward the ceiling. So now we're back in triangle pose. Deep inhale, and exhale. Hinge at the hip to come all the way up, back into our 5-pointed star with the heels in and toes out. And then exhale into goddess pose. Inhale, come up. And then exhale as we step back to the other side of our mat. Now we're doing one more round, but to the other side. So you want our feet to be slightly wider than hip width apart. You're softening your knees. We're gonna inhale, bring the hands together above the head. And then exhale as you move over to the right this time, bringing your gaze to the ceiling. Inhale, stretch your fingertips up, keeping your shoulders down away from your ears. And then exhale, over to your left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring your hands to your lower back. Support your back. You're gonna inhale here, and then you're exhaling, doing small back bend. Inhale, let's come back to center. And then we're exhaling as we step out into the 5-pointed stars. So heels in, toes are out, hips are squared. Bring your hands up. And then exhale into goddess pose. Inhale, let's come up. And then exhale as you bring your hands to shoulder height. We're turning the left toes in, the right toes are moving out. We're gonna inhale here, and then exhale as you reach out for the side, dropping your right hand down to your shin, bringing your left hand up toward the ceiling. You want to bring your lower hip forward, and then your upper shoulder back. Inhale here. And then exhale as you rotate down to Parsvottanasana, intense side stretch. Go ahead and grab your blocks. Adjust the height to wherever you need it. Look straight ahead, keep your back flat. Inhale here, and then exhale. You can even walk the blocks forward a little bit. Maybe on this side, you want to go a little bit deeper. We're gonna inhale here, and then exhale as you bend your front leg, extend the left leg back, and then you're creating a 90-degree angle between your knee and your ankle. You want your knee to be stacked directly above your ankle. You can also bring your hands to the floor. Keep your hips sinking down into the mat. Inhale here, and then exhale as you bring your knee down to the mat, untucking your toes. Inhale, bring your hands up above your head. Exhale, small back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands all the way down to the mat. Inhale, lift that back knee as you flip the toes under. And then exhale as you come into your side lunge. Take your blocks with you. Inhale, we're coming through center. And then exhale over to the other side. Bring your blocks over to either side of your mat. Tuck the toes under you. And then walk that front foot out as much as you can to create a 90-degree angle with your thigh and your shin. Inhale here. And then exhale, bring your knee down to your mat, untuck the toes. Inhale, come up. Exhale, small back bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring your hands down to your mat. Inhale, lift that back knee. Exhale, you're rotating your heel down into the mat, extending that front leg, bringing your hands to your blocks, looking straight ahead. You want to take that right hip and then press it forward as the left hip is moving back. Inhale and exhale. And then you're taking your left hand, bringing it down to your shin. You're rotating so that you're opening your hips up to the front and coming back in Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, we're coming all the way back up. Heels are in, toes are out. And then exhale into goddess pose. Inhale, let's come back up. And then exhale as you come back to the other side of your mat. Go ahead and press your hands together and then tip the fingertips down in order to get a nice wrist stretch before you bring them back to center, back to your heart. Let's go ahead and come to the center of our mats. And then from here, we're keeping our Feet wider than hip width apart. Our toes will be pointed out, the heels will be in. And then we're inhaling, arms up, back into the 5-pointed star, and then exhale into goddess pose. So we're gonna stay here for a second. Press your knees back. So we're moving from the inner knee to the outer knee. Inhale here, and then exhale as you bring your hands down to the insides of your knees. So we're gonna inhale here, and then exhale as you press your right shoulder down and then look up at the ceiling. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, twist the other direction. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, we're coming all the way back up. You can step it in a bit. From here, your heels are in, your toes are out. Bring your hands to your heart. We're gonna inhale, and then as you exhale, come all the way down to the ground. See if you can maintain this squat without lifting the heels. If you do have to lift your heels, that's okay. Otherwise, keep them all the way down. And then press your elbows into the insides of your knees for Malasana, garland pose. And let's begin to alternate pressing the elbows into one knee at a time. Go ahead and place your hands behind you to gently come all the way back down. So from here, we're going into Tadasana or butterfly pose. So the first thing you want to do is take your feet, you're pressing them together, but they can be open. You just want the outer edges of the feet to be pressed together. And then you're bringing them up to the groin as much as you can. From here, you're rotating your thigh inward. So we're going to do that twice on each side. So you're going to grab your thigh and then rotate it inward. That just rotates the femur in its socket a little bit, and it helps us to move forward. So do that one more time on each side. And then see if you can naturally press the knees down a little bit. It's okay if your knees are way up here, or if your lower back is rounded, then you might want to sit on a block and get some more height. So what you'll do in that case is just sit on the block. And then maybe avoid the rocking, which we're doing next, because it's a little bit hard to balance on the block. So I'm just gonna face forward once again. You're grabbing your hips and then you're rocking forward, sitting nice and straight. You're gonna lengthen your spine, moving up through the crown of the head toward the ceiling. And then go ahead and grab your feet and you're fluttering your knees. This is why Tadasana, butterfly pose, is called what it is. Extend your hands out in front of you. We're gonna inhale. And then exhale. You can bring your hands to your heart. And then let's move forward with a straight back. If you'd like, you can grab your blocks, place them in front of you, and rest your forearms on those blocks. As long as you have enough space for your belly, you can also walk the hands out. Let's begin to walk the hands all the way back to center. You're gonna grab the outsides of your knees, bring them in as much as you can without squashing the belly, and then you'll wrap your hands around your knees and then rock from side to side. From here, we're gonna do upward facing plank. So you can sit in Dandasana or staff pose. Your feet are flexed towards your head. And then count 1, 2 hand spaces behind you with the fingertips pointed straight ahead. We're gonna inhale here, and then exhale, lift up your hips as you point your toes, bringing your gaze to the ceiling. Inhale, lift your hips a little bit higher, and then exhale, release all the way down. From here, we're gonna set up for Supta Baddha Konasana. So that means supine, bound, angle pose. So we're gonna take our blocks, place one so that it's vertical. The other one will be horizontal and flat. And then grab your bolster or pillow, making sure that the strap is to the outside so it's not running into your back. And then you want your hips to be at the base of that bolster. We're coming back into bound angle pose, which is the prep for Tadasana, the butterfly pose. So the feet are together, the knees are out. And then you're opening your strap if you have one. If you don't, that's okay. You can do this without one. But you're bringing the strap all the way around your torso, making sure that it's on the base of your lower back, the tops of your hips. And then you're looping that strap over your feet. Make sure that the tail end of the strap isn't cutting into your skin, so it's not resting on your feet or your thigh. And then you pull the strap in as much as you can. So that brings your feet a little bit closer to your hips. And then also, the extra pressure on the tops of your hips helps to open the base of your pelvis. It becomes a little bit less tight as you move back. So we're gonna start to gently lower ourselves all the way down onto that bolster for Supta Baddha Konasana. You can rest your hands on blocks if you like. So the forearms will be rested on blocks. Or if your arms reach all the way down to the ground, they can also be rested on the ground. Take a nice breath here. And then you can maybe grab the elbows and allow your arms to fall beyond your head down towards the mat. That opens up the chest and allows you to stretch the shoulders and arms in addition to opening up the hips like we're doing in regular Baddha Konasana. Let's slowly begin to come up. So we're gonna rest halfway. Take a breath. And then press all the way back up. We're gonna rest in Shavasana the same way because when you're pregnant, you never want to be laying flat on your back. What that does is it puts too much pressure on the inferior vena cava, which is a large blood vessel, which obviously allows all the blood to return to your heart. And you want your blood to be circulating throughout your whole body and through the placenta so you're nourishing your baby. So what we're doing is propping ourselves up for Shavasana. So you can unloop that strap over your back, and then you're extending your legs out, and then go ahead and rest all the way back down on the bolster, allowing the toes to fall out to the sides. You're letting your legs roll out to the side. Go ahead and soften your thighs, soften your belly. Feel your body become heavy. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Soften the throat and loosen the jaw. Allow the space between your eyebrows to widen and soften. You're releasing all of your facial tension. And relax here for about a minute or longer. If you'd like, you can pause the video here and continue into a longer Shavasana. As your mind begins to wander, always bring it back to your breath. You can also focus back inward towards your baby. When you're ready, you can slowly begin to come all the way up. And then we'll come back to center. You can cross your legs, bring your hands to your heart, keeping your eyes closed or softening your gaze for one final Om. So we're going to take a deep inhale. Bring your head down to your heart, your hands down to your knees. Lift your head up, and Namaste, which means the divine light within me recognizes, acknowledges, and honors the divine light within you. Thank you. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. If you'd like some more prenatal yoga videos, then I invite you to download the YogaPlus app. Namaste.